Hey there everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Caitlin, your geeky girlfriend, back again with my good friend Jacy, and we are here for another episode of our Tay Talk with you guys. And in today's video, we are going to just have a discussion about the albums, and we're going to be talking about our top 3 favorite songs from each album, starting with Debut and working all the way up to Fearless. And we have tried to keep it at top 3, but as you'll come to find out, some of them, it's more like a top 5 because we've got some honorable mentions, so we'll explain our thoughts on why that is. And in this video, since this is not a live recording, we wanted to do more of these videos so that way we can interact with you more in the comments. So by recording this and then posting it, if you comment on it, I'm able to actually go and have a conversation with you and get to know you, and you can share your Swiftie story with us. Whereas in the live stream, if you're not live with us, we aren't able to access those comments and have that conversation. So we thought, let's change the format a little bit and let's kind of do some of each where we can get to know some of you and hear about your favorite Tay songs and moments and what your Swiftie story is. And so we kind of wanted to try out this method. So we're gonna have some videos that are pre-recorded in this series, and then you'll also see the ones that are live streamed. So if you don't already follow me on Instagram at your geeky girlfriend, same as this YouTube channel, or if you're watching this on Instagram, welcome back. Go follow me and subscribe on YouTube. Works both ways. Same name, both channels, and we can go ahead and jump right into this video. So we're gonna do our top 3 songs from every album, starting with Debut. My story with how I first heard Taylor Swift and I first heard Debut was I was in 7th grade and I heard some of my friends singing our song. They had heard it on the radio and I didn't know what it was. I didn't know who sang it, but my teacher, I will never forget this, and this teacher sadly has passed away. She passed away in 2020, so it's really, but I will never forget this. She was one of the best teachers I ever had, Mrs. Richmond. They were singing the lyrics. I was riding shotgun with my hair undone in the front seat of his car, and my teacher made a comment at how stupid that lyric was.
You've told me this story before.
Because she said, well, obviously she was in the front seat, because that's why, why else would she say I was riding shotgun? So she's like, that lyric doesn't make any sense, because she's just telling you the same thing twice.
Yeah.
And that was the first, and so when I finally heard that song on the radio, I knew right away it was Taylor Swift and it was our song because she had made that comment about, and I love that teacher, obviously. I love Tay and I'm a huge Swiftie, and at that time I was not a Swiftie, and being the teacher's pet that I was like, yeah, that lyric is kind of silly, like riding shotgun in the front seat, obviously. But now look at me now, I'm a huge Swiftie. Sue Richmond, I'm sorry, that I like somebody who writes silly lyrics, but that was my first experience with Debut. I didn't know who Taylor Swift was, and I did not listen to Debut in its entirety until after Speak Now came out. And I've mentioned, I think in both of these videos that we've done, both of the other episodes, that I became a Swiftie as soon as I heard 15 on the radio, because I just really resonated with that song. I was a freshman in high school, and I was the new girl coming from a new town, and so I just really resonated with that song. And so that following Christmas, or maybe it was the year after that when Speak Now came out, I got Speak Now, Fearless, and Debut all for Christmas. And so I did not listen to Debut in its entirety until several years after it came out.
Me too, actually.
And so I grew to appreciate Debut in its own right. I wasn't into Debut when everybody else was into Debut and was listening to Taylor Swift. I got into the songs of Debut kind of after. And I think that affected my top 3 because none of my top 3 are the singles that you heard on the radio.
Yeah.
Everybody knows the classics. Shoulda Said No, Teardrops on My Guitar, Our Song. Most people know Picture to Burn, and most people know Tim McGraw, and those are the top 5. We know when people say, oh, gee, Tay, those are the songs that they think about. Shoulda Said No is still a jam. Don't get me wrong. I still go hard to that. I still go hard to Picture to Burn. But when I listened to Debut, those were not the songs, because I had already heard those ones. It was the ones that I had never heard before that really were wow, this girl's got something going on.
Yeah.
And so, diving right in, that kind of gives you an idea of what my top 3 are on Debut. Now, we will say, it was very hard for us to come up with these lists, just listing our top 3 favorite songs. let alone putting them in order of, like, my number one. Like, some of the albums, I think, were able to do that.
Yeah.
Like, the number one song is easy, but 2 and 3, like, deciphering between which is second and which is third is very hard. So we're just giving a general, like, my 3 favorite songs on this album are. We didn't really rank them, like, top favorite song. Now, we might, like I said, some of them will be like, yes, this is the top favorite song. But it was hard to do that for every single one. So, for me, the top 3 on debut are Tied Together with a Smile, because I love the lyric where she says, hoping that you'll end up in his pocket, but he leaves you out like a penny in the rain because it's not his price to pay. I just think that is beautiful. It has such a strong message to young girls about, you know, you are pining over this guy who just is not going to give you the time of day. And he doesn't care what happens to you because that's not his price to pay. Like, he is not thinking about what's going to happen to you when he does not pick you up and put you in his pocket. And ever since I heard that line, I was like, wow.
And you put that down on your favorite lyric thing,
I did.
too, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
Yes. We're going to have to do that in a separate video, like, show the paintings and all that.
Yeah.
Because we've got several, like, Tay-themed recreational activity projects, guys. Yeah. So we're, like, big, huge fans, and maybe I'm still hoping that Tay will see one of these videos and maybe come and visit us.
Anything can happen.
A guest star, we'll see. But Tied Together with a Smile is easily one of my top 3, and I just love that lyric. Mary's song, Oh My, is another one. I love the storytelling aspect of it. I love the idea of these 2 kids. They grew up together, and then they end up realizing that they're meant to be, and they get married, and they grow old together. I just love that. And I think that's probably my top favorite song on debut. Like, every time I hear it, I just get chills. I just listened to debut a couple days ago, and legit, I had chills.
Yeah.
And that's what happens to me every time I hear that song. Like, as soon as I hear that opening beat, I'm like, And then the last one, the top 3 for me, is Place in This World, because I love the line, I don't know what I want, so don't ask me. I love that line, and I love, I'm wearing my heart on my sleeve, feeling lucky today, got this. Like, I just think it's such, like, an upbeat, and it like, listening to it now and knowing where Taylor ended up, for me, that song was like she said, I don't know what I want, so don't ask me.
Yep.
I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm just a girl trying to find her place in this world. She certainly has, and I think it's very inspirational because of that. Because all those lyrics that she was writing, she didn't know that she was going to be big. She didn't know that her album was going to blow up. She was just literally a girl. She was a teenage girl, just doing something that she thought was fun, and I think it's really, really inspiring. And so those are my top 3, and it's the lyrics for me. Like, you get down to the nitty gritty, and it's the lyrics. Like, like I said, nothing wrong with Should Have Said No. Good song, good story. Yeah. Our song, good story. Picture to Burn. That one's always, you know, like, I love Picture to Burn. There are some funny lines in that one. Yeah. But these 3, Tied Together with a Smile, Mary's song, and Place in This World, like, I just look at them, and when I listened to them, you know, I was 17, 18, I felt the same thing. You know, I felt the same thing, and I wanted what she was talking about in Mary's song. I wanted to end up grow old with somebody, and it kind of perfectly curated this picture of, like, love and a love story. And so that's debut for me. And I didn't have any honorable mentions. Like, for me, it was cut and dry. These are my top 3. I guess I did have one honorable mention, Perfectly Good Heart, because I do love that one. But it was like, I forgot about Mary's song, and as soon as I remembered, I was like, nope, Mary's song. Like, it was an easy cut to cut Perfectly Good Heart. But I do love Perfectly Good Heart.
Me too.
A lot of great lyrics in there too. Yeah. It's, again, singing from the perspective of how could you do that to the person who was broken up with, singing to the dumper. Like, how could you, you know, how could you do this to somebody who's never had a broken heart before, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's good, like, really raw feelings for somebody who was so young.
Yeah. All right. So, for my debut, I had a couple in common with you, actually. So Mary's song is definitely probably, like, my top favorite. I think I can just, like, reiterate what she said, you know, like, the story that it tells, like, 2 people who grew up together, like, I think that they were, like, 6 and 7, or 6,
7 and 9.
7 and 9.
I was 7 and you were 9.
I was 7 and you were 9. And, like, their parents were friends, and like their moms used to joke about the two of them, and their daddy said, "Oh my," you know.
Yeah.
And then like they grew old together, and I think one of my favorite lyrics in that entire song, like my favorite line in that whole song, is when she says, "I'll be 87, you'll be 89, and I'll still look at you like the stars that shine." Because
Yes,
it's like
I got
they
chills.
spent the whole their whole lives together, and like at the end of their lives, they look back and it's like, I still love you, and everything's still like, even though we're different than who we were then, I still like my love for you is still the same, and I still look at you the same as I did all those years ago. And I think that that's just beautiful, and I think it's a really good song.
Yes. I love the line too. Our whole town came and our mamas cried. You said I do, and I did too. It's just
yeah.
Take me back. I could sing the whole song. Like, take me back to the place we lived.
So if you haven't heard it, I highly encourage you to look it up. It's such a good one.
It's called Mary's Song. It's also referred to as Oh My. Like, a lot of people know it by both names. If you look at it, you know, from her official page in Vivo, it's going to be Mary's Song parentheses Oh My. That's, it's definitely a good one. We did last year, it was us two, and then my sister, who's a Swiftie, not as big as us. She hasn't been a Swiftie for as long, and she's like, she loves Tay, but not as much as we do, not in your face as much. And last summer on our way home from Florida, we listened to every single Taylor Swift album and decided if we had to only listen to one song off of each album for the rest of our life, what would it be? And all three of us chose Mary's Song off of Debut. Like, despite having all these other great songs, like, that was every single one of us was like, oh my. Not even a question. Like, I could listen to it every single day. Yep. And it would never get old. It would never get old. It's just beautiful. Yeah. Okay.
So the next one that I chose was Invisible, which is where she's talking about, I love that one. And she's talking about, like, how she's a girl who's, like, really has a huge crush on this guy. She's really into him. But he's, like, he's into a girl who doesn't reciprocate those feelings, or maybe even is in a relationship with another girl who doesn't appreciate him. And she's like, I just want to show you that she doesn't see you the way that I see you. It's kind of like the message, like, I adore you and I want to love you, and like she doesn't even have any clue what she's like, what she has, basically. So it's she's
kind of a prequel to You Belong With Me.
Yeah,
very much so I see you. I know you. Yeah. She doesn't. But yet, why are you with her if she doesn't appreciate you? Yeah. So it's very much like a precursor to You Belong With Me.
Yeah, and she's kind of saying, like, you have no idea. Like, we could be huge. We could be this beautiful thing. But, like, instead, you just treat me like I'm invisible. And she's like, you have no idea, like, what we could be if you would just, like, put her, like, you know, don't give all your attention to her because she doesn't see you how I see you, once again. So, yeah, I love that one. And the B2, I think I really like, too.
Yeah, it's got a nice...
It's just, like, really soft and, like, sweet.
Yeah. A lot of the songs on the album are kind of that hard, like, country, you know, and Invisible just kind of scaled it back a little bit and was more just, like, her and her guitar and...
Yeah.
Similar sound to Tim McGraw, but not... completely different story.
Yeah. And then my other one is Place in This World. I know Caitlin already mentioned, I think, like, almost any young person can probably relate to it. Like, I don't know what I want, so don't ask me. I'm just a girl trying to find a place in this world. And then I guess, like, something I didn't think about was, like, seeing, like, how far she's came and who she is now, and, like, looking back on her, like, on the last 13 years or however many years she's been in music, and, like, how far... like the person that she became compared to who she was then. And it's just really cool and inspiring, I think, to see that. And I did have a couple of honorable mentions. So I know that, like, Tim McGraw was, like, her first single ever, I guess. But the first song I remember ever hearing from her was Teardrops on My Guitar when I was in middle school. I loved it. I thought it was so good. And also Stay Beautiful, like, takes me back to middle school.
A good one.
Like, I don't know. I think that those two are very, like, nostalgia type of songs, because, like, my friends in middle school loved Stay Beautiful and I loved Teardrops on My Guitar. And a girl that I actually was friends with in middle school dated a guy named Corey.
Oh my gosh.
And so, like, I can't remember if it was I can't remember if it was her MySpace page or, like, Bebo or something, but, like, in the bio she put Corey's eyes are the highlight of my day, and I'm like, that is so cool.
That's
like,
so cute.
Yeah,
that's fun.
Yeah.
Stay Beautiful is a good one. I hope that if you're watching this video and you're hearing some of these songs that you've never heard before, go listen to them, because it'll give you a whole new appreciation for her as a songwriter and her just like kind of going back to the roots of Tay. And especially if you are somebody who isn't like was a Swiftie at the beginning and you heard all the singles and then like the newer stuff you're not so into, like go check out some of these older ones that maybe you haven't listened to or haven't listened to in a long time, because hearing them as an adult, I was thinking about this when I was listening to Debut, hearing it as an adult versus as a 16, 17-year-old, it still hits differently. Like it kind of makes you like think about those experiences when you were, when you were 14, 15, 16 and think like, man, like it kind of just helps you, like, I don't know, kind of reminisce or like you said, be nostalgic a little bit.
Yeah.
You can go ahead and go first for Fearless, since I went first for Debut.
So one that I chose for Fearless was 15. Gosh, I could just go into this like and go on a huge spiel about it. But it's another thing that I think that a lot of young people can relate to, because a huge line in that song that I relate to is when she says, in your life you'll do things greater than dating the boy on the football team. I didn't know it at 15. Now, granted, like, I wasn't dating a boy on the football team, but I think that, like, when I was 15...
Could be applied to any soccer, basketball, baseball, or like it's any, just...
anything, like, so when I was 15, like, I thought that I had my whole life planned out how I wanted it, and, like, I was dead set on my future and what I wanted, like, career-wise, relationship-wise or whatever. And so when some plans fail and like maybe you take a different path than what you originally expected, it's like, oh, like I'm actually going to be so much bigger than this, and like things are going to be so much different in a great way. I didn't know it at 15 that things were going to be the way, like I'm 25 now, and at 15 I had no idea my life was going to be the way it is now, and you'll do things greater than you even imagined. So like that really just speaks to me, I think.
Yeah, I also have 15. 15's my number one off of Fearless as well, because like I said, it's the song that made me a Swiftie. I heard it on the radio.
Yeah.
We were in Columbus, we were going out to eat, and my mom, like, I remember her distinctly, like, turning it up. Like, my mom turned the radio up, and she was like, isn't this Taylor Swift? And I said, yeah, I think so. And then we listened to the whole song, and she was like, wow, that's a really good song. And so even my mom liked it. And I think, for me, that was like, in high school, my mom and I had some struggles. Like, we were very similar, because I was, I was a teenage girl, I was the oldest child, and so we would fight a lot. And so I think for me, that song was something that my mom liked it, and I was like, well, if mom like that was something that we could finally, like, have in common, I guess, was that we both liked that song. Cool. So that was, and that, as soon as I heard that song, I wanted to hear the rest of that album, and I wanted to hear the rest, like, I was hooked. And I love the line about, and this is the line that my mom really liked, was, you'll do things greater than dating the boy on the football team, because at the time
I didn't know it at 15.
I was dating a guy on the soccer team that I always felt like my mom didn't really like him, and she's like, just like Taylor says in that song, like, your whole life is not based on date. And so it was just like a, and I'm looking back now,
I don't know about you, but like I'm glad that like the way that I wanted my life to be, like, pan out when I was 15, I'm glad that it's not that way now. Like, yeah, same. Even though it was like, a rough road or whatever.
Yeah. And I think I lost my train of thought, but sorry. No, it's fine. But it was like, kind of what you said, like, looking back now, it's like, at the time I was kind of like, oh, you would like that line in the song, Mom, because you just don't like him or whatever. I was kind of like bitter about it. I loved the whole song. I think when I first heard it, my favorite line was, Abigail gave everything she had to a boy who changed his mind. That's a good one, too.
And we both cried, like, her friend.
Yes, we both cried. And what's funny about that song, in case you didn't know, Abigail, the redhead that she sat next to in high school, is her best friend to this day.
That's what I was going to say. I think it was cool because that's, like, the start, or it talks about, like, the start of her friendship with Abigail, who she still is, like, really good friends with.
Abigail is her best friend to this day, and I think that alone, and it's sad, kind of in a way, to know that. Like, to know that Abigail is a real person that really, because we've all been there. We were just chatting last night amongst us, like, we both had friends in high school who did that same thing, and we had to be there for. Yeah. And, for me, that was the line that did it. Abigail gave everything she had to a boy who changed his mind. That was always a big fear of
Yeah.
mine, and it kind of impacted how I lived my life in high school and moving forward. So 15 for sure is number one for me too. For similar reasons, like the lines and just looking like you don't know how great you're going to be at 15. Like you don't.
Yeah, you have no idea what your life is even going to be when you're 15. Yeah. You think you do, but you don't.
And the line also, I found time can heal most anything. Like if you give yourself enough time, all the struggles that you thought you had or all the problems will cease to exist almost.
One other line that I really love is like the very beginning when she says, take a deep breath and walk through the doors. It's the morning of your very first day. And I think I like that because like it's just like this like fresh start. Like you're starting something new, take a deep breath, walk through the doors. It's your first day. And I don't know, like, I just really like that. Because she's talking about her first day of freshman year, but, I mean, I feel like it's just...
It's a good motto
It's a good one for anything.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's your first day, take a deep breath, walk through the doors.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Walk through the doors. Yes.
Okay. And my next one for Fearless is White Horse. I love that one.
Ooh, I kind of forgot about that one. That was a good one.
I really like the line where she says... This is a big world. That was a small town. They're in my rear view. Mirror disappearing now. I like that one.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
I forgot about that song, honestly.
Yeah.
For me, my next one is Best Day because I love that it's written about her mom, and I love that the music video for this song was composed of home videos.
That's actually mine too. Mom. The Best Day.
Yes. And my sister and I have sang this song multiple times. I sang it at my wedding as my husband and his mom's dance because it's an ode to your mother, you know. Yeah. I had the best day with you today, and she talks about going to the pumpkin patch. She talks about going shopping because she had a rough day in middle school.
Yeah.
And she talks about, you know, my daddy's smart, but you're the prettiest lady in the whole wide world. Like, it's just an ode to her mother. And as I got older and as I was exiting high school and as I was in college and my mom and I got closer and closer, I just really loved that song because thankfully and gratefully my childhood was full of those memories of the playing princess and going to the pumpkin patch and all those things. So it's just very nostalgic for me, and I love that it's about her mom, and it's so light and it's fun, and you know, I had the best day with you today. And a story behind that song was she wrote it as a Christmas present for her mom, and then her brother and her dad helped put all the home videos together. So it was like a present for her mom, and then, and I just think that's so sweet. And I love the lyric, you know, my, God smiles on my little brother. I have a little brother. So it was just like, I love, like there are so many things. And then I think my favorite line is, like my sister and I would sing it as a duet, and she has my mom's brown eyes. So she would say, thank you for giving me your eyes. And then I would sing, for standing back and watching me shine, because that was what, like my mom was at every meet. She was at every, you know, and she was in the stands all the time. Even if she had her eyes closed on balance beam, she was there. Yeah. And so I just really like all the things that she sings about with her mom. Like, even when I didn't appreciate mom, you know, I do now. And looking back, it's like, because they're, you know, all teenage girls don't like their mom at some point, I feel like. But I feel like, you know, looking back, I'm like, sorry, Mom. But we're better now and everything's fine. And I love my mom, but...
That song was on my other favorite, too. And I think that my favorite line... I keep talking about my favorite line from each of my favorite songs, but I think one of my favorite lines from that is when she says, don't know how long it's going to take to feel okay, but I know that I had the best day with you today. That one I love because it's something I relate to, again, because it's like even times where I felt like I wasn't okay, if I surround myself with people I love, who I'm enjoying myself with, like, it's like, yeah, I'm not okay, and I will be at some point, but I know that, like, I'm able to enjoy myself with them, and they make it better for me, and I just had a great day with them today. So Tay is so relatable in her lyrics.
She is. She is. I think it's your turn now, because we
Speak Now.
No, was that it for
my
Fearless?
My Fearless ones were White Horse 15.
Oh, you said White Horse. Okay, so Best Day, and then You Belong With Me, just classic. I mean, You Belong With Me was, you know, she wears short skirts, I wear t-shirts, and like like we were talking about with Invisible. She likes this guy who is dating a girl who doesn't, like, she just doesn't get you the way that I do. I think that's one of the lines, actually. And, you know, I know you better than she knows you. And the music video is cute and it's fun. It's a high school. That's the iconic where she's like got her glasses on and the posters in the window. And no matter, when I heard Taylor's version of You Belong With Me, I like turned it up. Like, it was just, you hear that initial chord and it's just like, turn it up. I don't like, there are, White Horse is a good one too, but You Belong With Me, it's just, that's one that I just scream sing all the time. Like, no matter what, you belong with me. Like, you just really get into that song. Yeah. Like, nothing specific, like, there's not really a particular line that I like about it. It's not relatable, really, to my life because I was a cheerleader, so I was the one wearing short skirts, but, like, I wasn't, like, I was kind of the, like, I don't know, it was, like, reverse. Like, I was the one in the short skirts because I was a cheerleader, but then my personality was the t-shirt. So it was, like, I was both, you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't the dark, you know, the girl with the dark hair in the music video. Like, I was very much, like, the nerdy girl with glasses and the t-shirt. So it was like, this song was like, I'm both of these people. So it's kind of, but an honorable mention for me was Mr. Perfectly Fine.
That's a really good one.
If she had released Mr. Perfectly Fine on the original version of Fearless, OMG. Like, that song really is everything that I needed in high school. Yeah. And when I heard it for the first time, I was just like, wow. Wow.
That was a really good one. I agree.
Hello, Mr. Perfectly Fine. How's your heart after breaking mine? I've been Miss Misery since your goodbye. Like, it was like classic Tay, but it was like, it would have been the perfect song to like jam out to after a breakup in high school. And there are some Jump Then Fall I really like as well. And I love Fearless, like the title track I love. So Speak Now, moving on. Speak Now used to be my favorite album. Like before,
there's a lot of good ones on
before Lover, because Lover's now my favorite album. Speak Now was my favorite album because I could listen to Speak Now all the way through. I've talked about in the other videos, like most of the albums for me have a track that I just skip every time. Like I just don't want to listen to it, don't like it, whatever the reason. And Speak Now, there was only one song. And it used to be something else, but now it's changed because I realized I love the lyrics of the other one. But Speak Now from the beginning, I loved how it was like country, but a little bit of rock, but a little bit of, and she like, that was when we kind of started to see Tay like with Mean, for example. She kind of like was starting to like call people out on their crap a little bit, and it was just fun to watch. My top song off of Speak Now is Better Than Revenge because I love the beat, and I love like her little like asides to herself in the intro, and like when she like talks to herself in the verses and stuff. I just thought that was really funny, and like just has a lot of good, like it's another one that you just scream sing. Like she's not a saint, and like I guess for me like the line, she's not a saint and she's not what you think, she's an actress, like I feel like that's really true with a lot of people. Like they, like you get, it's kind of saying like you get to know this person. And I love the fact there's nothing I do better than revenge, because let's be real, Taylor's
she was such a little revenge person.
Yes, like Taylor's ultimate revenge is writing a song about you.
Like, right, yeah.
Like,
she's not
like
yeah, she's not like this big revengey type of person, but she has the revenge attitude where she just like gets back at people with her songs.
Yeah,
basically.
She's like, well, fine, you crossed me, I'm gonna put you in a song, so get ready. Like that's, but I just love that one. That's number one for me. It's always been, because when I heard it for the first time, it was one I just had like that wow reaction. Like it was something. The songs leading up to it are softer, you know, kind of melodic and cutesy. Like Speak Now, or the guy leaves his wife at the altar for her, and all this stuff. And then you get to that one, Better Than Revenge, and you're like, okay. Like it was a very dramatic shift, but I think that's why I like it, because it's always just stood out in my mind. It's a good song.
Yeah,
it's a good song. She's better known for the things that she does on the mattress. Man, so savage. I cannot believe
she wrote that back
then. So savage.
Like,
yeah, so funny. Go ahead.
Okay. So, one of my favorites on Speak Now is Sparks Fly.
Good one.
I just think it's a very catchy song. Like the beat is very good, and I like when she says, "I see sparks fly whenever you smile."
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just very
the
very
acoustic
catchy.
version of Sparks Fly is it's a very different, but it is good. So if you have not heard, she played it live at the Reputation Stadium tour. She played an acoustic version of Sparks Fly, and I had never heard it before. And if you have not heard the acoustic version, look it up because it is really good.
Yeah, so many good lyrics in that song. Like, I love when she says, "You stood there in front of me just close enough to touch and close enough to hope that you couldn't see what I was thinking of."
Yes.
And give me something that'll haunt me when you're not around. I don't know. Just so many good lyrics in that song. And again, it's so catchy. I've just really loved that one for a long time.
My next one off of Speak Now, and this is another like sappy one, is Never Grow Up. The line where she says, "And here I am in my new apartment in a big city. They just dropped me off." That hits me so hard because that was me. For those of you who don't know and haven't followed like the channel up to this point, after college, I moved from Ohio to Clarksville, Tennessee. Shout out to my Clarksville friends. And I went there for my job. I went to teach there, and so I moved from my family, 6 and my friends 6.5, fiance even 6.5 hours away, and I literally was in my own apartment in the big city. They just dropped me off, and it was like, I'm pretty sure I listened to that song that night, and I was like, this is what I've waited for, is to grow up and be on my own. But then it's like, in that moment, I wish I was, like, no matter how happy you are and how satisfied you are with your decision, it's like, I just wish I was at home seeing my dad come home from work and be little again. Like, the whole premise of the song is, little babies got, wrapped around my finger. It's, it's so quiet, but it's never grow up. And I don't know if I don't know this. Maybe if you do, let me know in the comments. I don't know if she wrote that like from her mom's perspective. Like, that's how her mom is seeing her. Like, her mom let her go, never grow up. But there's a line in that song too, or a verse where she like talks about going to the movies with your friends, and she's like, don't be afraid to ask mom to drop you off because there'll be a time when you don't need her anymore. And that whole second verse is about it's like, don't be embarrassed to have mom and dad drop you off at the movies, because there's going to be a time when they're not around and when you want them to drop you off and do things and they won't. So it's a very sappy song. It's a very sad song, but it's also like empowering at the same time, because it kind of just shows like the circle of life in a way. Like, you're on your own and you're doing big things now, but you still like look and think of those moments when you were at home. And she says like, memorize what it sounded like when your dad came home and like stuff like that. So that way you can keep those memories with you when you're on your own. And this is a song that I plan to sing to my children as a lullaby, like that whole chorus of, "Oh darling, don't you ever grow up." And I just think it's a beautiful song, and I like that line about, I'm sitting here in my new apartment in a big city, they just dropped me off, is something that really hits home with me. And when I was there, Speak Now had been out for years at this point. Like, it had been 3, 4, 5, even almost 6 years since Speak Now had come out. Maybe not that much, maybe like 3 or 4. And I still, like, that was the first thing that I thought of when I was in my new apartment, was that. And how I was like, well, I'm here, and I'm all grown up, but it's like, is this what it feels like to be all grown up? Like, you're sitting here alone and, like, kind of sappy? Like, is this what grown up feels like? So that's number 2 for me, is that one. It's a good one. Sometimes I still cry listening to it.
Yeah, that is a really good one. My next one on Speak Now is Innocent. And
Sydney likes that one.
I know that, like, I feel like that one kind of was written about Kanye West when that feud happened. But I look so much beyond that. There are so many lines in that song that can be applied to life. Like when she says, "Who you are is not where you've been, you're still an innocent. And who you are is not what you did, you're still an innocent. Your string of lights are still bright to me." Like, I don't know. I just think all of those lyrics are so good, and I like it. But there is a part where she throws shade at Kanye, so I don't know. I guess you can take that for what it is. But I like to pay attention to like the meaningful lyrics in it. So, yeah.
My last one from Speak Now, and if I had to pick one song that I could listen to from this album over and over again and it never get old, is Mine. And I love the lyric, you made a rebel out of a careless man's perfect daughter. Careful daughter. Yeah. I love that line. I love you and me. We're sitting by the water. Again, the whole storytelling aspect of that song about how they meet and it's kind of like reckless and she's just like, she's not used to doing things like this because she's careful and she doesn't want to get hurt and I just love the whole story of it. And it's one that, again, like you hear that beat and it's just like, you know, like.
Yeah, that is a good song. Yeah. Yes.
No honorable mentions for me on this one. This one was a cut and dry.
Yeah.
3.
And then a last one for me for Speak Now was Enchanted. I know you said whenever we were like making these and you're like, Innocent and Enchanted are just ones that I don't like. And I'm like, oh, I love those ones.
I used to like Enchanted, but then I heard it a lot or I kind of got sick of it a little bit.
Yeah.
And so it's one for me now that I'm just like,
Yeah.
I could just.
Yeah. I just really like the beat to it. And, you know, there are some good lines in that song too. Yeah, it's just a good song. And then for honorable mention, I had Back to December and Mine. So, yeah, those are both
Back
really
to December is a good one.
Yes, I have loved Back to December for a long time. It was really hard to, like, decide which ones to put in the top 3 and which ones to just say, honorable mention, because Back to December has been, like, one for me for a long time that I really like.
I think for me, if I had to pick an honorable mention, it probably would be Speak Now, just because I love the beat of it, and it's so catchy, and the lyrics, some of the lyrics are funny, like, she's just, you know, there's a line about looking like a pageant queen, and then dressed like a pastry. I think, like, she kind of, like, pokes fun at those cliche, like, wedding stereotypes about, like, all the bridesmaids looking at the, like, some of those, like, cliche things, she, like, kind of pokes fun of, and I just think it's funny.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't do those at my wedding, but, you know, it's fine. My dress was not big and poofy, though, so I didn't do that, but. Okay, moving on. Red. I think we both have one of the same ones for Red.
Maybe.
All Too Well.
Yeah, that was one for me too, so we can just go ahead and get that one right out of the way.
Yep.
The obvious one, All Too Well.
I think it's a big favorite for most, because it was, again, that was another one that when us and my sister listened to all the Taylor Swift it was like All Too Well. Like, I could listen to All Too Well on repeat every day, scream, sing it. Yep. That bridge, man. We actually, funny story about that, we were all singing and somebody messed it up. Somebody, like, I don't know if it was me or my sister, I don't know, somebody messed up the lyrics to the bridge, like the scream sing part. We started the whole song over and listened to it again so we could get ready and do it right. Like, All Too Well, you gotta, if you're gonna scream sing it, you gotta scream sing it and do it right. You just gotta go all in. There's nothing to, like, critique about All Too Well.
Yeah.
Lyrics are good. Still hits, like,
still
dance around the kitchen in the refrigerator light, like, there's nothing, You Call Me Up Again Just to Break Me Like a Promise, like, so many good.
I'm a crumbled up piece of paper lying here because I remember it all too well.
Yes. Oh. Like, there is nothing bad to say about that song.
Yeah.
Still waiting on the 10-minute version.
One thing that I've noticed lately that I like about the song is, like, you think it's starting to calm down, and it's like, and then she's like, time it's like I'm paralyzed by, and then, like, she gets back into it, and then she's like, cause there we are again, and, like, it's like, you think it's over, but then she, like, goes into this thing.
It's like this big crescendo of, like, you're thinking, okay, it's gonna end, and then nope,
cause there we are again, well, I
loved you so. Back before you left.
Yeah, it's a really good song. Highly encourage you to listen to it if you haven't.
Even if you have listened to it, there's never a bad time to listen to All Too Well. Like, it's a sad song, like, but yet I always feel better after listening to it, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know if it's just because it's so, like, so much emotion in it that it's just kind of like a vent song. Even if you're not feeling those same emotions, every time I listen to All Too Well, I just feel like, like a sigh, just like,
yeah.
Like, get something out. So All Too Well. Another one which we made a joke about because she made coffee. I said it smells like a cafe in here. Also, we forgot to say the album. We're on Red. This is Taylor Swift's 4th album, Red. The Taylor's version is being released on November 19th. Expect to see some sort of reaction video coming live.
Yes.
Begin Again. So we...
Begin Again was one I had too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But on a Wednesday in a cafe.
I actually decided to do 2 top
Begin
favorites
Again.
for Red and then just did the rest honorable mention because Red was a really hard album to decide on favorites.
It's hard.
It's a pretty good one.
It's hard. Begin Again, just a storytelling about I get that because Begin Again is the last track of the album.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of tells you, like, yes, All Too Well happened, all these things happened, and now it's beginning again. Like, I think the fact that it's the last track makes it part of the reason why it's up there on a favorite for me, because it's just like, you just heard all these emotions pour out in all these other songs, and now we're here at the end, and she is hopeful that things are going to start over. She's hopeful that things are going to begin again. And just, like, the realizations that she has with herself while she's, singing. Obviously, the song is told from a woman's perspective, and she is going on a date with this guy, and she's, like, kind of second-guessing herself. Well, maybe he's just saying this because blah, 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 blah. But then you start to talk about the movies that your family watches
every Christmas.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I could talk about that because for the first time, what's past is past.
Yeah.
Like, so she's kind of having this internal dialogue with herself as she's singing. Like, she's having this second guess, or she's having this second thought, like, no, this isn't right. This isn't, like, I can't be happy.
Yeah.
And then, you do something, like, you do something to tell me it's okay, or you've never met somebody with as many indie records as you. And, so she's just realizing that it will be okay, and
this is
the person in front of me is going to make me happy, and I don't know if I
can watch this begin again. Yeah, I don't know who it's about.
I don't know who it's supposed to be about, but...
Yeah, and then, like,
it could just be metaphorical, but...
I walked in expecting you'd be late, but you come here early and you stand and wait. And then, like...
Yeah, just like how her expectations are being broken right in front of her eyes.
Yeah, and then she's like, you pull my chair out and help me in, and you don't know how nice that is, but I do.
Yeah.
And, like, it's like, she's like, I've been spending the last 8 months thinking all love does is break and burn and end, but then I'm watching it begin again right in front of me right now. Yeah, and she's, like, having all these doubts and stuff, but it's like, okay, like, things can begin again and be okay.
Yeah. Another one for me that's really good is actually a bonus track. If you haven't heard it, if you don't have the deluxe version of the album, check it out. It's The Moment I Knew. It was the last bonus track. The Red deluxe version had a different version of Treacherous. I think it had a different version of State of Grace, and it had...
I didn't know that the deluxe version had different versions of those songs.
Yeah, State of Grace is like, there's an acoustic version of that. There's a radio edit or something of, I think, Red and Treacherous. And then it has 3 new songs. The Moment I Knew is the last one. And another one is an honorable mention, Come Back, Be Here. So The Moment I Knew is also about Jake Gyllenhaal. Let's throw that out there. And she is at her own birthday party, and she is waiting for the guy to show up. And she goes to the bathroom and starts crying. And there's a line about, it's funny how your friends know... Like, your friends know right away when there's something wrong or something. I can't remember.
Okay. Yeah, I forget what the line is.
I forget what the exact line is right now, but, and she's like, that was the moment I knew. You weren't here to sing me happy birthday. That was the moment I knew this. And she's stating, like, throughout the whole song, like, I knew we were done at that time. You didn't show up. I think at the very end of the song, she says, like, you called me up and said, I'm sorry I couldn't make it. And I said, I'm sorry too. And that was the moment I knew. So that one's just really good.
Yeah,
it kind of,
I love that one.
Solidifies the whole mood of the album. I think for me, the theme of Red overall is, you are not gonna hurt me anymore. I'm gonna make a change. Like, for me, that's the theme of Red. It's very, like, country rocky, and of course, I Knew You Were Trouble. Like, it's her kind of realizing, like, I need to stand up for myself.
Yeah.
We are never getting back together. Don't call me again. This was the moment I knew. All Too Well. Like, it's all I almost do. Like all of those are like her realizing I'm not going to call you anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna pine for you. I'm not doing it anymore. And I think it really shifted in all the albums moving forward, because then all the albums moving forward, she talks about love in a much more positive light. Everything is talking about, relationships, and this is what I want, this is what I have, type of a thing. So The Moment I Knew is very good. If you haven't listened to it, go check that one out. Another one that's on the deluxe track for Red is Come Back, Be Here. And these are all going to be on Taylor's version. Come Back, Be Here is a song, it was actually written about Harry Styles, and it is singing about how she, I guess you're in London today, but I don't want to need you this way. Like, it's all about, like, them being apart and trying to make their relationship work from all these different cities, London, New York, LA. And so for me, somebody who did a lot of long-distance relationships, I just always liked that one.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. So we don't dawdle. I had another honorable mention, but...
Another honorable mention of mine is Stay, Stay, Stay.
Oh, hey, I had the same one, so it's fine.
Yeah, I just got hooked on that one. It's very catchy. Like, the beat is very catchy, and like when she's like, you carry my groceries, and I'm always laughing. Like, I love you because you've given me no choice but to stay.
Yeah.
And like, before you, I've only dated self-indulgent takers
who took all of their problems out.
Yeah, and so and then like the fact that he's kind of a jokester. I don't know if I like that part as much, where she's like, you think that it's funny when I'm mad, and like when she wants to talk, he comes in with a football helmet. Like, that can kind of be funny to like if your guy has a sense of humor or whatever. But I don't know. I just think overall it's a good song.
I had that as an honorable mention as well.
Yeah, and then I Knew You Were Trouble is another honorable mention, and same with We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together. I know I mentioned in our last video, We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together is the first single that I heard on the Red album, and like, it was the first pop song I'd ever really heard her sing, because I was so used to country, and when I first heard it, I was like blown away by how much I loved it. The pop vibe, like the bridge to the song is where she's like, oh, so he calls me up and he's like, I still love you, and so I just thought that was like wonderful. And eventually I got to a point where I had to purchase a Red album. My sister and I jammed out to 22 and the whole nine, and so like, We're Never Ever Getting Back Together was like truly the start of an era for me, like with Red. I just loved it so much.
Classic.
And I would like scream to it too, like, no! Yeah. So yeah, those are mine for oh, and I don't know if I mentioned also also for Red, another one of mine was 22. That was another top favorite, not honorable mention. 22 is one of my top favorites, so
yeah, that's a good time.
Okay. 22 was one that my sister and I would jam out to in the car. We loved it so much.
Okay, so out of fear that the videos are not going to upload as promised, we've done 4 albums so far, and that actually works out because she's done 9. So we're going to stop this video right here, and then there's going to be a part 2, and you can check that out in the YouTube channel. And so part 2 will have 1989 all the way up through Evermore. So if you've watched this video, then you can go and watch our co-Swifties top 3 favorite songs for the next half of Tay's career, just so that way we can make sure that all of our videos get uploaded, because I've been having some technical difficulties with things not uploading properly and the quality diminishing. So we're going to try and keep all the videos high quality. So we're going to sign off of this one for now. Make sure you go check out part 2, which is live and up and ready for you, because they are uploaded on the same day. So make sure you go check that out. I'm Caitlin. Thanks so much for watching. Thank you, Jacy, for joining me again on this series. And we will see you guys in co-Swifties Top 3 Songs Video 2. Go check it out.